invitation stuff arriving. Money runs out, of course, so you can't actually write to your friends anymore, so they begin to forget about it, and it's just typical. I mean, like, me and Stu were like, we were both riding high about 2000, weren't we? 2001.
Yeah.
And we could afford to, like, email and telephone each other, phone each other, and then, like, when we both had a bit of a downturn for a bit, and then just lost touch, just from, like, being stuck in our own situations, and it's a hard life. Well, I'll put on that governmental video.
Can I just ask one last question? One last one, please. If you had to describe your life in 3 words, number of 3 words.
Is an orange. Sucks, but doesn't. I don't know where you got that from. I think you were extrapolating that from it. I was almost Led Zeppelin. I won't have gone for that house. We're not writing you indoors. Look at it, right. Nah, I'm sorry, I ain't got a philosophy quite that potted. So, any more questions about it? Absolutely anything.
Okay. You mentioned the Game Boy Advance version, yes.
I kind of doubt it. Well, the Manic Minor version, I finally found out today. I have actually seen a printed copy. I've seen a copy that somebody went into a shop and bought. Well, yeah, I've played it on an emulator, but I've never ever seen it on sale in the shop. And I think and Jester aren't really talking to me, so I can't find out from them how well it's doing. But I think they've basically blown the franchise, as it were.
Do you get royalties for that one?
I should do. I've a gentleman's agreement with somebody who isn't a gentleman, and I haven't got a back garden, so nowhere to bury bodies. So, so I just have to read that one.
What was the last game you played that really impressed you?
The last game I played really impressed me. Impressed. Well, Doom really, really impressed everybody who thought that 2D wasn't possible. But since then, something that might have really impressed me is no, I don't think anything since Doom's impressed me quite so much as that. That's just that, or even Castle Wolfenstein had it all. The impressive stuff. That's, I think that's finally the moment when 3D games became viable, and that certainly changed a lot of the way I was thinking.
Who was it thought the copy protection on guess that really was a good idea?
I blame one of the other partners for that. It's we did have a meeting where I can remember us deciding it would be extra evil to have the red and pink very, very hard to tell apart. It's quite deliberate from there. But to make it hard to photocopy. And yes, it was slightly evil. But
It is.
Yeah, it's a bit creepy. Okay. Okay.
I'm just helping you along.
No.
You're tired and thirsty.
Don't want more questions. Any more?
Matthew, do you want to wrap up with tell us about the developments in the Mega Tree and how it went from Mega Tree, the situation of the bird, and what actually happened with the Mega Tree and the competition?
Well, the Mega Tree, that was just a simple. Well, what was it? We were set up in a house, a small, very smelly house. And I think this is where the term skunk works comes from. It was actually invented for us to describe Holt Road. Is where we were disrupting the company. So we most disruptive of us, which was Willy and Mark, we secluded ourselves in a small house to get a game done without bringing the publishing empire down around areas, because it was quite well, it wasn't totally unusual to have there was the task of publishing and the task of developing were. I'm not sure everybody was always clear as to who was who was a publishing company and who was just a developer. Because it was hard to say. I mean, this. But anyway, you asked how the Mega Tree. When you asked about the Mega Tree, we asked about what the game was going to be.
Basically, yes, what was the plans for it?
Ah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
ultimately at the end.
there was a core of the game which was actually you can actually see the core idea of the game in a later Amiga game called Nebulous. And did we have Commodore 64 game?
Yeah.
Excuse me, that did something similar with the rotating tower.
Oh yeah, there was one. There's a.
The one with the frog.
Yeah, there's a tower
We had
that
that already.
rotates.
With the copy of that.
No, that was afterwards. That was after.
Yeah. No, so yeah, we had that as an original idea. Yeah. And we were going to have that. Yeah, it was a platformer with some extra ideas. It was more than a platformer in there. And yeah, we ought to get Marcus, because Stu's concepts in Retro Gamer magazine, they ring bells, but it isn't quite exactly what I thought we were doing. so we ought to try Chinese recipes and actually find out exactly what we would have ended up with if the plug hadn't been pulled on that operation there. And yeah. Did we actually get a lot of code in there?
I don't think so. We did some graphic. I think it was interesting because it was one of the first team project things, the software projects that attempted, hadn't they? Because before there was Matthew working on his own, and there were other software projects, as Matthew said, were a publisher, and so lots of games were submitted by people who were bedroom coders, and they published them. And Matthew's partners had decided they could make more money by copying the likes of Imagine Software, who'd worked with large development teams. And so they brought people in-house and then sort of asked Mark and me to work with Matthew to build a bigger, better, larger game. Or I think that was our expectation of what they wanted from us, when in reality they wanted to quick Jet Set Willy lock up.
I'm not
Perhaps,
sure.
I don't know. It's why did they pull the plug after 3 months?
We were all out auditions to try and go bigger and better all the time.
Yeah, I think we did, but I don't know if
did as well.
it was when we demoed to the other person. Anyway, and the discs are whatever, sold on eBay, and the graphics that are in the game that we did, I think there's a little bit of code as well, but that's down on one of the retro games.